Hi everyone, welcome to a video for day 3 of the 2016 Cheltenham Festival. Recording this an hour and a half after day 1 finished. Not a bad day actually in total. Min ran a decent race in second, and then obviously Douvan was really impressive, to be fair. That was a great run. Holywell ran well in second, and Nichols Canyon again in second. Ran a really good race in the Muir Hurdle, though it's got to be said Annie Power was really impressive. Vroom Vroom Mag, again, mega impressive, really impressed with that. Minello Rocco did well, and I was just a bit gutted with Alamomo just coming out the places. I think the fact that he got so taken on for the lead really didn't help in that race today, to be honest with you. But can't win them all, so we will move on to day 3 and see how we get on today. It starts off day 3 with the JLT Novice Chase, won last year by Vator, obviously. I don't think there's another Vator lurking around in here, but the horse I really like for this, and it looks like he is going for it now that he was taking out the Arkle today, and that is Garde la Victoire. He really loves the course. He stays pretty well. He's got a good staying pedigree. He jumps well. He's unbeaten as a chaser. The ground has actually come more in his favour, and I think Garde la Victoire is a very solid horse. Bristol de Mai, though, shouldn't be ruled out. He's in good form, and the catalyst to this one has been him stepping up from 2 mile to 2 mile 4, and I think that's seen him go from strength to strength. But the reason I'm not picking him is he is beaten by Garde Champetre on Garde Champetre's Chase debut, and he won very well. So it's quite a bit to see Bristol de Mai suddenly turning that on Garde la Victoire. L'Ami Serge, also running the same colours as Bristol de Mai, is an interesting one. He came 10 lengths behind Douvan over hurdles last year, so that's a decent level of form. And he's taken to fence as well. However, he was easily beaten at odds on latest. I think it was at Warwick. So once again, for him to get beaten at that odds and then suddenly come out and win is a big ask. But this race is really lacking depth, I think, this year. One to mention at a huge price is Three Musketeers. He's been in good form. First run, he was not fit. He then came up with a couple of really good performances. But the worry I have is his last run at the course was awful. If he can leave that behind, then fine. But it's a big if, isn't it, really, I'd have to say. Not a great renewal of the JLT, so 1, 2, 3 is Garde la Victoire from Bristol de Mai and L'Ami Serge. Onto the Pertemps Final, and once again, horses are running in hundreds of races, but one horse is jumping out at me in this race, and it's a horse called If in Doubt. People would know him more as a chaser, but last time out over hurdles, he went really well and won, and it was the qualifier for this. He's been put away since, and for that reason, I think they've been targeting this race, and I think he's on a really good mark. He's all about stamina, and this is a really punishing 3 mile hurdle race, this, so he should be staying on at the end. And I think he's got a great chance, and he's about 11 to 1, and I think that's a decent price. Missed Approach is interesting, very impressive on his last run. He goes well fresh, and he's been put aside for this. The ground is fine, he's got a really good weight, and I think he's going to go very close again at a big price. That's the advantage of these big handicaps, you get some great prices. Arpège de Laine for the Nichols Yard's interesting. He's got a similar profile to If in Doubt, to be honest with you, in that he was chasing, then he went back over hurdles and seemed to take to hurdles. But overall, over all disciplines throughout his career, he's been pretty inconsistent. He might put it all in, but the risk is that he might not do it. Sadler's Encore for the Hobbs Yard's an interesting one as well. Good win on his latest, but he's actually held on collateral form through If in Doubt, and I think If in Doubt is the one to go with on this one. They're the ones I'm going to just focus on, because you could go through another 50, but with so many declarations it's hard. But from 1, 2, 3, I'm going to go for If in Doubt from Missed Approach and Sadler's Encore. The Ryanair Chase is one of the big 2 races on day 3, and the news came through early this morning that Vator is out of the Gold Cup and is going for the Ryanair Chase. I think it's a sensible move, bearing in mind how easily he won the JLT, and I said I'm not 100% convinced he's a proper 3 mile 2 stayer. The worry is, though, there is rumours going around about his last pieces of work meant Ruby Walsh said, I'm not sure about the Gold Cup, you need to be 100%. But I suppose you could argue you're not 100% for the Gold Cup, but even at 80%, he should be good enough to take the Ryanair. So I'm going to take the chance on this one there. The one which could be the fly in the ointment, I suppose, but I don't think he's going to go for this, as a horse called Village Vic of Philip Hobbs. He loves it around here. He's won all 3 races from the front round here. I said he's a big front runner, which could put Vator off his step, though I hope they stick to the handicap route, because this is a monumental step up in class. And I think it will be a bit too much for him, to be honest with you, so he's worth a mention, but I just hope they don't go for it. Joss's Hill for the Henderson yard is very, very inconsistent, but all fell right for him on his last run. The worry I've got is the fast-paced nature of this and the bigger field. Is it going to put pressure on his jumping, which at times is ropey at best? And it's what I said about I forgot his name now, the Henderson horse in the Arkle for day one. I said it's going to put pressure on his jumping, and he fell 2 out once Duvan turned the screw. And I think that's a similar feeling to get for this Joss's Hill, to be honest with you. The one who's too big a price if he goes for this is Dinast for the Martin Pipe yard. His last run was second to Silviniaco Conti. And that isn't a bad piece of form, bearing in mind Conti was well coming back to form and it was probably too soft for him there. He loves it around the course and he's 33 to 1 in places. If he goes for this, I think that is a crazy price on Dinas, to be honest with you. The most likely danger to Vautour, though, I think is going to be Alpha Off for Paul Nicholls. He's a course and distance winner, though not course and distance together. He's very, very consistent, and that's the one thing you can't take away from this horse. He goes really well fresh, and obviously came third in the King George, which is probably stretching him too far, if I'm being honest. So the step back and trip seems the sensible decision. He's held by Vautour on that form, so it's hard to see him necessarily turn in the form, but he's got the dream form line through on Vautour, to be honest with you. And for the Gold Cup, for our bet on Don Cossack, I want to see both Vautour and Alpha Off running well, because if they do, I think Don Cossack would have taken the pair of them in the King George, and that would go and give that form a bit more credit. But Alpha Off, I think, with Vautour around even money, Alpha Off could be a good each way bet. 1, 2, 3 in here of Vautour from Alpha Off, and I'm going to put Dinast in there just on the chance that he runs, because I think he's overpriced. On to the World Hurdle, and if someone had said to you 12 months ago that Thistlecrack would be the even money favourite for the World Hurdle, I think anyone would have laughed at you. Bearing in mind, a little under a year ago, as I said the other day, he was like 20 to 1 for a handicap at Aintree, won really well, and to be honest with you, he's been unbeatable practically since then. Everything he's done this year has just been absolutely magnificent. He holds all of the main protagonists here. The good ground, his best performance is arguably at Aintree, and that was on good ground. Everything's going for him. It's a penalty kick, this, and I think he should be even money favourite. Cole Harden was a winner of this last year. He's been in okay form this year, but not great. But the good ground has come up. But he's got a lot to find with Thistlecrack, because this Thistlecrack can go through the gears like something I haven't seen since the likes of Big Bucks was coming around. I'm not saying he's up to that level yet, but Big Bucks would have completely demolished Cole Harden, to be honest with you. And this is again, I think Thistlecrack has got the beating of Cole Harden. Au Petit Soir for the Nicholls Yard's impressive winner at the festival last year, but hasn't run since. And okay, My Tent or Yours came from like 2 years off and came second in the Champion Hurdle today, which was an unbelievable training performance. This, bearing in mind he's stepping up to 3 mile, would be almost as impressive to do that, and I think he'll get found out possibly at this level. Sam Twiston Davis has attached his colours to Saphir de Rue for the Nicholls Yard. This has been the plan B. Obviously, chasing again just hasn't worked for whatever reason this season. And do you know what? I don't think he fully came home in this race last year, so it's hard to see. And I think this year's renewal's a lot stronger than last year's, so it's hard to see him suddenly coming out on top. Of more interest for me is a horse coming over from Ireland called Alpha des Obeaux. Very classy horse, and absolutely destroyed at Fisher's Cross in his last run in Ireland. At Fisher's Cross goes in this and is held by Alpha des Obeaux. He's got a great chance if he finds more improvement. He's been finding his way slowly but surely over hurdles and coming through very much like Thistlecrack has, but not obviously to the same meteoric rise. But he's very, very dangerous, and I think he won't be staying over hurdles for long. He looks a chaser in the making. But I think Alpha des Obeaux is a very live danger. It's all about Thistlecrack though here. My 1, 2, 3 is Thistlecrack from Cole Harden and Alpha des Obeaux. The next race here is the Festival Plate, and again we've got horses entered everywhere. The one I really like in this, and I hope he doesn't run in the Ryanair, and that is Village Vic. As I said, loves the course, perfect trip, front running. This looks a lot weaker race than that, so even top weight doesn't bother me. And if he goes like he has done the last few times, it's going to take a lot to beat him. The other reason I hope he runs in this, on the latter 2 days of the festival, you want horses who race prominent because they operate on the new course, and it's a lot sharper bend, especially coming up the hills, so it really allows the front runners to slip the field. So I really hope Village Vic goes for this. Irish Cavalier is interesting. Bar his last run at the course when he was pulled up, he got jarred and made a mistake, and then he pulled up. He's always won or been in the first 5 over this trip. The advantage is he's been dropped a couple of pounds for the last run, so if he regains his form around here, like Holywell did today, and shown nothing but ran a really good race today, Irish Cavalier is a really good each way bet. Same applies to John Spirit. Love him for the course. Not in great form this season, but even more so, he's dropped to a really good mark. Big if he can find his way back to form, great price. Stiletto for Paul Nicholls, interesting. He's improving all the time, and he beat last time out a horse called Amore Alato, who ran in the last at Cheltenham on day 1 today. It ran okay, looked to be a player coming down the hill, but didn't quite finish it off. So aligned through the form of that, Stiletto possibly on pretty much the same conditions, going to come up a bit shy. A huge price if he goes for this, because I think he's better at 2.5 mile than 3, is Splash of Ginge. He loves the course, and he's better horse on better ground. He's not in the best of form now, but his mark looks really, really good, and he's 33-1. And if he goes, there's worse big each-way punts you can have there. All in all, it's very tricky to pick this one without the lack of who's going to run when. But from 1, 2, 3, I'm going for Village Vic to beat Irish Cavalier, and I'm going to put Splash of Ginge in there because I think it's insulting price 33s if he goes for this. The 6th race is the new Muir Novice Hurdle, and this is again all about one horse, and it's another Mullins machine that he's got here in the force of Lamini. He's unbeaten, nothing can seem to lay a finger on him, and a bit like with Vroom Vroom Mag today, it was like, yeah, but it's a hoe, he's never been in this class, he's never travelled before, or whatever you want. Vroom Vroom Mag today was just breathtaking, to be honest, and I put Lamini in a similar bracket to that. I was reading a stable review back in February, and they were arguing out of Vroom Vroom Mag and Lamini who's going to go for the better race, and they went with Vroom Vroom Mag based on that. But Lamini, they would have been more than comfortable putting him in. And bearing in mind, this is over 2 miles. It looks a lot less competitive. It's hard to oppose Lamini. Apple's Jade's in for the Mullins yard as well. He beat Jers Girl, who's a good yardstick, and is in this last time without being great form. But the vibes that I'm actually picking up from some people who went over at the course today is suggesting that one's more likely to go for the Triumph Hurdle Apple's Jade. Bloody Mary for Nicky Henderson. It's worth going over the Henderson horses. They're on fire at the moment. He's unbeaten, but has only had 1 run in the UK. He did it well, but will need to find some pretty big improvement from somewhere. And it's hard to see him finding that to necessarily beat Lamini here. Smart Talk for the Ellison Yards improving and won a grade 2 on his latest start. The form of that, though, was a real tough one to weigh up, and again falls well short of what Lamini has done. Interesting, there's 2 again for the Henderson Yard. Whether all these 3 run or not, I don't know. Again, multiple entries. But they both run in the same colours, the grey with the white epaulet, and that is Choco Waka and Robin's Reef. Interestingly enough, though, Nico de Boinville's attached his colours early to Choco Waka. He's got really good hurdles form, but he's only had 1 hurdle run. He won, but he had to work really hard for it. He will need to improve no end, but as we saw with Altior, the Henderson horses improve all season. This is what it's all about for the Henderson Yard, so that could run a really big race. At a huge price is Robin's Reef in the same colours. Again, good bumper form, and he's been good over hurdles, and do you know what, no disgrace behind Briary Queen, who I think's a really good horse last time out. Again, could improve, and I don't see why that horse is 20-1, to be honest with you. I think he could run a really big race, but again falling short. From a 1, 2, 3 here, I'm obviously going to side with Lamini. It's going to take something special or a fall to beat it, I feel, from Choco Waka, and do you know what, I'm actually going to put Robin's Reef in there as well, just purely for a bit of each way value. Then that comes to the last day of day 3, and that is the always unpredictable Kim Muir, which is another amateur riders race. The one that's jumped off at me this for ages is Cause of Causes, a real stayer. And in the Kim Muir with amateur riders, you want a horse that's going to stay, because the chances are someone like that happened for Minella. It was set up for Minella Rocco today. They're going to go mental pace. Minella Rocco was practically last with a circuit to go and won, and even my other pick, my main one, Noble Endeavour, was coming right the way through before unfortunately fell 2 out, and again they had the best 2 jockeys on it really, and I think that goes a long way in these races. He's ran well in this race before. Jody Codd has been booked on this as well, which I think is a real big one, and yeah, I think he's a player. I think he's a really good chance. Cause of Causes. Dr. Harper's been a talking horse since he won last time. He's improved every chase, and even when he's lost to very good horses in defeat, with his jumping getting better each time. His last win was over 2.5 miles, so this is quite a big step up in trip, but he won over 3 mile on good ground over hurdles, so assuming that he stays, Dr. Harper's got a great chance as well. The rest are huge prices, and you can make a case for a lot of them. Knockhouse is interesting because Nina Carberry's been booked. He seems to run good races at this course on good ground, and he's currently 20-1. Not in the best of form at the moment, but again, if he suddenly finds form with Nina booked, 20-1 could look to be a huge price, to be honest with you. Ziga Boy, same comment applies for Alan King, but this horse is really, really inconsistent, but if you put it all together, he's a very, very good horse, so you've got to give him a mention. Interesting is one called Sam Bramont for Willie Mullins. 4 mile was an option for this, but it seems that they picked this 3 mile race. The fact is, if they put him in the 4 mile and he was there till the end, suggests that they think it's got a real good chance of staying. He should stay. The ground is taken on trust, but no reason why he shouldn't. And again, he should run a really good race. One I really do like though, with a big price, and a big each way price, is Perfect Candidate. He's a course and distance winner, and other than that, he's had really good form at the course around this trip. Last time out, last year he ran in the 4 miler and was running a great race, to be honest with you, until about the 3.5 mile, and when he clearly got to the top of the hill, he didn't stay home. And that's the reality here. The good ground is fine, and I'm not actually sure, I think it's because he's not from one of the fashionable yards, why he's 16-1. I think Perfect Candidate's a live danger in this. It's always a tough race, the Kinmure, but I'm happy to go with the 1, 2, 3 here of Causes to beat Dr. Harper, and I'm going to put Perfect Candidate in because I think that horse is massively overpriced. Again, thanks for watching. Keep posting anything you're interested in terms of what you're backing yourselves. Fingers crossed we get some winners out of this, and I'll be back. It'll probably be a couple of days now because I'm obviously at the course on tomorrow, which is Wednesday. So on Thursday, I'll be putting the video for the final day, the Friday. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye-bye.